Monku Babu from the pterodactyl West, the hungry spectacles, the small world of Sadanand, Mamat, Babu Terror, the two magicians, Shibu and the monster, the Mr. Stranger, Math People, Mr. Pink and People. Maybe I should just go back to Mr. Eccentric, from Justin. So maybe the attic. No, first I must get to work. Taking forever. When will it be over? The electrician didn't call. I'll have to call him in the morning. So I never managed to find out Mr. Eccentric's full name. All I did was annoying. Learned was that his surname was Mukherjee. His appearance was quite unforgettable. He was he was nearly 6 feet tall. Too bright. Just tomorrow I have to return the library book. Damn, overdue charges. The autobiography would be available by now. Should put these books back. To work for a bank. The check has to be made out tomorrow. What date is it tomorrow? 25th. It's Rohit's birthday day after. I should call him. He called me on mine. What a birthday. I really have never have had much of peace. His body was without the slightest trace of fat. His back arched like a bow, and his neck, arms, hands, and the forehead were covered by innumerable veins that appeared to be bulging out of his skin. What he wore almost every day was a white shirt with black flannel trousers, white socks, and white tennis shoes, and he always carried a stout walking stick. Perhaps he needed it because he often walked on uneven, unpaved roads and amongst wild plants. I met Mr. Eccentric 10 years ago when I used to work for a bank. That year I had taken 10 days off in early May and gone to Darjeeling, my favorite hill town, for a holiday. I saw Mr. Eccentric on my very first day. Full fun birthday. This would make a great Hitchcock sort of film. I should put Birds on download. I've heard so much about it. At about 6:30, I had left my hotel for a walk. There had been a short shower. As I was walking down Jalapahar Road, the most picturesque and quiet road in Darjeeling, I suddenly spotted a man about 50 yards away. He was standing where the road curved. His body was bent forward, and he was leaning on his walking stick, gazing intently at the grass by the roadside. There was no reply. He was deaf. Was he deaf? Tycho was awful too. He bent further forward and stretched an arm out towards the grass. Then he pushed his fingers into the thick grass, and a second later withdrew his hand. Between his thumb and index finger was held a small disc. I peered carefully at it. It was a button, nearly as large as a 50 paise coin. Perhaps it had once been attached to a jacket. Encounters with a strange man. When I finished my tale, Dr. Vomit said, "Well, from your description, it appears that you met Mr. Eccentric." "Mr. Who?" "Eccentric. It's a sad case, Phoebe. I can't remember his first name. His surname is Mukherjee. He's been in Darjeeling for nearly 5 years. He rents a room in a cottage near Gringlace Bank before he came here. He used to teach physics in Ravenshaw College in Cuttack." "But why is he called eccentric?" Dr. Baumit burst out laughing. "He acquired that name because of his peculiar hobby. I couldn't tell you who was the first to think of that name." "Who's, what's that hobby?" "You saw it yourself, didn't you? He picked up a button from the roadside and put it in his pocket. That's his hobby. He'll pick up any old thing and keep it safe in his room. Apparently there's a story behind all of them." "How does he know that?" Dr. Baumit glanced at his watch. "Why don't you ask him yourself?" he suggested. "He's always pleased to have a visitor, for his stories are endless. All of it All of it is pure nonsense, needless to say, but he is always glad to tell them. Mind you, whether you will be glad to hear them or not is a different matter. The following morning I left my hotel soon after breakfast and went looking for Mr. Santis' house. It proved quite easy to find it, since most people near Grinley's Bank said Santis would be a great film character. I hope he doesn't seem to know where he lives. I knocked on the door of house number 17. Yes, there may be a special incident. related to many things, he said. But how many of those things would continue to carry memories of past, of the scene they have witnessed? Only very rarely would you find anything like that. This button. When can you see such things? Whenever I come across an object that has a special power to take me back to the past. It starts with a headache. Then my vision blurs, and I feel faint. Sometimes I feel as if I need support, or else I'd fall down. This glove, he told me, is the first thing I found. It's the first item in my collection. Do you know where I found it? In a wood outside Lucerne, in Switzerland. By Lucerne. By then, I had finished my studies in Marburg and was touring the continent before coming back to India. That day I was out on a morning walk. A quiet and secluded path ran through the woods. After a while I felt a little tired and sat down on a bench. Almost immediately my eyes caught sight of only a portion of that. My vision blurred, and then I could see it all. It was like watching a film. A well-dressed gentleman, possibly an aristocrat, was walking down the same path. In his mouth was a Swiss pipe, on his hands were leather gloves, and he was carrying a walking stick.